Hey guys, what's up? It's a Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies and TV shows and animes, and today I'm going to be doing a movie roundup video where I talk about the movies, TV shows, and animes I watched in the last couple of weeks or so. I've been really busy, as you all know, but the most things I'm busy with are always either making films or watching films, which is why I watched shit tons of films in the last couple of weeks. So starting off at the tail end of September, I watched One Battle After Another by Paul Thomas Anderson on VistaVision, and you know what? It's fucking amazing. While I don't think this is PTA's best film as an action thriller blockbuster, this is one of the most well-crafted, heartfelt, and funny films I've seen. It's also really topical given the current times, and I had a blast watching this film. It's a lot of fun. Just a great experience in the theater. 9 out of 10. Then, for my Asian horror class, we watched A Tale of Two Sisters by Kim Ji-hoon. It's really cool that there's a Korean gothic horror film released in 2003, the same year, with Old Boy and Memories of Murder and Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring. So that's pretty crazy, but maybe it's because I was kind of sleep deprived. I was just really confused the whole time. There were a lot of scenes that are supposed to be scary, but they're just not that well staged either, so it ends up not being that scary or that thought-provoking. Still a fun movie though. 7 out of 10. Light 7. Then for the Lynch class later that day, we rewatched, or I at least rewatched, Twin Peaks Season 1 Episode 1 and Twin Peaks Season 2 Episode 7, and they're both amazing. We also got to talk to the editor Dwayne Dunham about Twin Peaks, and I got to ask him a question, so that's pretty cool. 9 out of 10 for Twin Peaks. I gave it an 8 originally many years ago, now it's a 9. Okay, I finally finished the anime Flowers of Evil by Akuno Hana, which is directed by Nagama Hiroshi and written by Oshimi Shuzo, and holy shit, my mind was absolutely blown to pieces. This is an excruciating exploration of the human mind, love, lust, disgust, self-hatred, fitting in with society, and what it means to be yourself. The rotoscope art style made it 10 times more uncanny than it should be, which is great, and on top of such a well-written story with such deeply real characters. This is a masterpiece. I can't stress this enough. 10 out of 10. Then, for Beyond Fest at Aero Theater in Santa Monica, I watched Resurrection by Be Gone. It's a rewatch, and I feel like not a lot of people in the world had seen it twice, other than me. And I loved it just as much as I appreciated it even more. I loved it just as much, but I appreciated it even more. This is easily one of the most ambitious, dense, artistically intricate films of the year, and we need more filmmakers like Be Gone, who are crazy enough to make such a wacky film. 9 out of 10. Following that, I watched The Life of Chuck by Mike Flanagan, and it's a pretty corny hopecore propaganda movie. It started off kind of interesting because of the apocalyptic themes, but the rest of the film has nothing to do with that. The dance sequence is kind of dumb, only because it wasn't properly built up. I just was not hooked by this film at all. 5 out of 10. Then, for free at my film school, we watched After the Hunt by Luca Guadagnino, and this is genuinely one of the most overlooked and underrated films of the year. Obviously, this is a mid-budget drama with a lot of dialogue, but it explores such an interesting subject matter in such a refreshing way. This film is about cancel culture and activism, and explores it in such an intricate way. It's about clashing moral compasses and different socio-political views by different generations of people. The directing is also really, really good. Strong 7 out of 10. Then, for Asian horror, we watched Memento Mori, and on the surface, it's a pretty dumb high school horror film, but in reality, it's a really fun, melodramatic high school lesbian romance movie. A lot of wacky and goofy scares that ended up being kind of enjoyable. 7 out of 10. Later that night, we watched Wild at Heart by David Lynch. It's my first time viewing it, and holy shit, I did not expect this film to be so horny and wacky and violent and fast-paced. I love how Lynch intertwines sex and violence because the darkest scenes in the film often involve sex, and the sex scenes often feel a bit too overboard. It's also incredibly funny and weird. You know that Lynch really found his voice through that. It's not the most interesting or powerful Lynch film, but a fun one, and it's kind of crazy that I won the Palme d'Or. 8 out of 10. Then I watched Helter Skelter by Ninagawa Mika. This is a bold, unabashedly sexual and violent and extremely colorful and sensational film about celebrity culture and in beauty standards and plastic surgeries. Narratively, it's a bit hollow, but I just really like this early 2010s Japanese film, kind of wacky chunibyo style a la The World of Kaneko, and again, just incredibly colorful and insane, and I just really appreciate that this film exists. 8 out of 10. Then I watched Hurry Up Tomorrow, and it's pretty lame and boring and cringy. The Weeknd's acting is bad, the cinematography is good, but many people don't realize that if the story is bad, the cinematography is pretty much in service of nothing. 2 out of 10. Then I finished watching Demon Slayer Season 4, and it's kind of mid. The characters are underdeveloped, the world building is gone, no intrigue, no side plot, no style, pretty standard basic anime. The last episode is pretty exciting, but I can't help but feel cheated by this season. 5 out of 10. Then I watched Corpse Mania, which is a 1980s body horror giallo film from Hong Kong. It's less of a horror, more of a murder mystery. Not even mystery, it's just murder, nothing but murder. It's a really straightforward story, but I'm just really enjoying hearing Cantonese in a film again. Also, the death scenes are so absurd, it's almost hilarious. 7 out of 10. Then I finally watched Funeral Parade of Roses by Matsumoto Toshio. I find it amazing how this film is made as a way to understand the counterculture of Japan during the 1960s. This is some of the most forward-thinking and liberating cinema coming out of the Japanese New Wave. It's about the queer experience, but honestly, it's even more so a documentary about this cultural movement with scenes of people smoking weed, dancing, and committing murder. Yeah, just a fun time. 9 out of 10. For my script writing class, we watched Moonlight, and I wasn't there for the first 40 minutes or so, but it's fine because I watched this many years ago already, but the rest of the film had me hooked. It's so tender, but so cruel. Such a painful and poetic film about being comfortable with yourself and finding kindness in such a bleak world. Also, I'm finally seeing the Chungking Express influences. Shout out to Barry Jenkins. 9 out of 10. Then, at the Culver Theater, this is an LA premiere of Queer Panorama by Jun Lee. This is Jun Lee going full-blown art house mode with a 4x3 black and white movie, basically perfect days with non-stop gay sex. A lot of the characters feel flat and distanced, but I appreciate how bold and courageous the making of this film is. So strong 6 to a light 7 out of 10. And then later, it's a double feature, I watched Green Snake by Choi Hark, and this is a hell of a colorful and horny and bizarre and poetic wuxia film. I was waiting for the artistic twist given that this is adapted from a Lillian Lee novel, but most part of the film is nothing too out of the ordinary. It's the last act of the film that really made the film. It's incredibly cynical and bleak yet powerful and moving, and I don't think we'll ever get a film like this in Hong Kong ever again. It's a last of its kind. 9 out of 10. And after that, I also recently watched a bunch more films like Final Destination and Inside Out, and I'll be watching much more today and tomorrow and for the rest of the year. But hang in there, hang in tight, stay tuned. My brain is deep fried after all the film fests, and film sets. Yes.